All right, we're going to be taking a look at Delaney's 160-pound clean and jerk from her max out session this morning. Let's get theater mode going on here. All right, let's see what we got. Anytime somebody's got to sit down at the bottom, usually it means that there was a timing issue on the clean. We'll take a look at that in a second. Let's see what this jerk looks like. Not bad. All right, let's start with the clean. Setup position looks good. We've been working on trying to stay more in the ball of the foot rather than the heel, and she's definitely made a good improvement on that here. All right, now we've got knees getting out of the way. Now you can kind of see a slight knee cave in just a little bit on that right side. Nothing too crazy, just going to work with getting stronger on squats and pulls. But here, I mean, fantastic positions. Knees are out of the way. Shoulders are still over the bar. Let's see how those heels do as she starts to come up. Aha, now we're starting to run into that issue. Instead of pushing through the ground to get all of her strength, she's more kind of trying to push her hips forward to try and hit the bar out. She still manages to make it look pretty good at the top of that pull, but it could be a little closer to her. And she could have she would probably have a lot more strength in that pull if she kept her heels down. I have this weird thing when I'm doing these technique critiques where I don't know if I'm talking to Delaney because she is going to see this, or if I'm talking to the people here on YouTube. So I just switch back and forth. I don't know. I don't know who to talk to. Anyway. Yeah, so right here in this turnover, you can see that there's some space between that bar and her shoulders. And at this point in the turnover, I mean, basically, at this point in the turnover, you don't want any space. You want that bar in contact with your shoulders as early as possible. And then you meet the bar through the squat. And you can see even here, she's basically below parallel or right at. The bar is still not touching her shoulders. And it's going to hit her. Bam, like that, and push her way down to that squat. And now she's going to have to ride that double bounce to get up. And it makes everything a lot harder. So one big thing on cleans is to try and imagine like you're going to power every single clean, and that squat is just complimentary. You're just doing it for fun. As it gets heavier and heavier, you're obviously going to be not really catching it that high. But if you have the intention of catching or meeting that bar as high as possible, you'll be able to ride the bounce a lot better. All right, so one thing I don't like on the jerk is when people have the bar back on their fingertips, and she has great mobility, so it's not an issue. It's when the bar's back on your fingertips like this, the fingertips are in a good, strong position to punch yourself under the bar. The palm is going to be where you're the strongest. So I would like to see people, and especially her, I'd like to see her get that bar into her palms a little bit more before she starts the jerk. And I tend to have people more often than not jerk with elbows down a little bit more rather than up. She has almost no change from her clean position. Let's see. Yeah, almost no change from her clean position to her jerk position. And I'd like to see a little bit more elbows down and bar in the palms. It's a little bit too low of a dip. I'd like to see the dip stop right about there and then be very aggressive up. It's hard to move up fast if you're coming out of a squat, basically. That's a little too low. You can kind of see that the hips shift forward and the knees shift forward, and that if you dip too low. And that's going to put the bar out in front a little bit more. It's going to be harder to recover for sure. The head coming through is the last part of the lift for you. I'd like to see you try and get that head through and under the bar first instead of leaning back away from it. That's going to make it more likely that you'll miss the bar out in front. But you get your head through, stabilize, and meet in the middle, and it's solid right there. During the session, we were talking about it. She had the kind of realization of how that punch under works. Is as you drive that bar off your shoulders, there's going to be a moment where that bar is weightless, right around the top of your head. And if you can sense that and stay connected with the bar, you'll be able to punch yourself under really hard and really fast, and the bar won't crash on you, and you won't feel like you have soft shoulders and soft elbows. And most of the time, if somebody's pressing out their jerks, it's because they're not quite understanding that weightlessness. So that would be my biggest recommendation. She just figured it out on this lift. So my biggest recommendation for her is going to be to just continue to practice that on all of your jerks. Try and really just ingrain that habit, because it's been, you just got to get tons more reps of jerks with that in mind, and it'll start to click a little bit better. She went up after this and she got 165, and it was a good lift. We'll take a look at that in a separate video though. So just to recap on this: cleans, push through the ground, keep those heels down, continue to push. Don't just keep your feet down, but really actively push through the ground and finish your pull through that. And then that should allow you to have enough time to meet the bar better. So intend to power clean everything and just complementary squat. And for our jerk, we're going to try and shorten that dip up a little bit and feel that weightlessness and punch under hard. All right, guys, that's it.